Before you can write any program in Python or execute a program in Python, you need to have a Python interpreter. You need to have a Python interpreter. Okay, what is an interpreter? Like when you are listening to a talk or a speech, sometimes they will hire an interpreter to stand next to the one who's giving the speech. All right? If the speech is given in another language that you don't understand, and the one who's doing the talking will talk something like in English, and it will stop after a couple of sentences, and then the interpreter will try to translate it into the language you understand, like Mandarin. And they will go this way back and forth, something like that. That is an interpreter. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay? And before you can run any Python command or Python program, you need to have an interpreter installed on your computer. All right? However, how do you get the file, the installer, to install an interpreter on your computer? The one that I'm going to use, actually, there are a lot of the different Python interpreters available on the network. But the one that I'm going to use is the one provided by Python official sites. All right? And where is that Python official site? It's kind of easy to remember. It's python.org. This is it. Python.org is actually the official site for Python language. And there's a word called download right here, where you can download the latest version of Python interpreter, which is Python 3.8.5. Click on this link. It will take you to the download page of Python 3.8.5. For the top parts, it provides the new features of this version, which is not important to you because you didn't even use any version previously. So everything is new to you, all right? But keep scrolling down the page. You will see a section called Files. This is the parts where you want to download the interpreter, all right? First, you need to make sure the file you download is for your operating system. The operating system that we are using is actually Windows. It's either Windows 10, Windows 8, or anything like that, all right? And however, there are a lot of different versions, different files provided for Windows operating systems. Actually, there are 7 of them. And which one that you should download for your system. The one that we recommend you to download is actually a executable installer. What is a executable? A executable file will have a extension of .exe. Have you ever seen a file in Windows that ends with .exe in its file name? Have you ever seen one? No? This .exe file is actually a executable file. When I say it's executable, means all the contents in this file is in the format of the instruction that can be run by the CPU of your computer system. It can be run by the CPU. Do you know what I'm talking about? All right. You might not, if you don't really understand, that's okay. The file that you are going to download is actually a .exe file. You'll see later. All right. And when you download the exe file, you can actually execute, you can actually run that file. However, that is a bit dangerous for you to do that. When you run a .exe file, that means you let that file take control of your computer. If it's not from a trusted source, if you didn't download that file from a site that you can trust, that can be very dangerous because that file can take over your computer and do anything that program wants to do. And that can be something really bad for your computer. Like something like installing a Trojan horse in your computer. Do you know what I'm talking about? A malware, a virus in your computer. It will turn your computer into a zombie that they can use to attack other sites. So that can be very dangerous if you download a exe file and run it. However, this site, python.org, is a site that you can trust. All right? So it's not that dangerous if you run the file that you download from this site. That might be okay. But never, ever run the file that you download from the sites that you don't really trust, because it can do anything on your computer. Some of the programs, some of the files might be harmful, might be dangerous for you to run it. All right, let's keep going. So I would like you to download a executable installer and run it on your computer. And this installer will actually install that Python interpreter for you on your computer. However, you will actually see two executable installers on this page. One is this one, and the other one is down below, like this one. This is also a executable installer, right? What is the difference between the names of these two files? This one, this executable installer, and this executable installer. What is the difference between these two files in the name? Can you see the difference? The top one, I mean the upper one, has this -64 in the name, all right? And the lower one doesn't have that. Do you see that? Which one you should install? To answer this question, you might want to launch the Windows File Manager right there and right-click on the computer. All right, right-click of your mouse on computer and select Property. After that, you will see a system type. where it indicates 64 bits operating system. There will be only two types of the systems. One is 64 bits. The other one is 32 bits. A 32 bits operating system is kind of old for now. If you purchase your computer system within the last maybe 4 to 5 years, your computer system should be 64 bits, all right. Okay? If you have an older computer system, there is a chance that you will see 32 right here. If you see 64 right here, then you should download this one. This x86-64 executable installer. If you see 32 right here, then you should download this one. Without that, -64. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay, that's good. So when you click on this file, do you see that it will actually download this file with the .exe at the end? Do you see that? Okay, and after you download it, you might want to click on it and install it and run it. Okay, this is the part that I told you, which is very dangerous. However, Python is the site that you can trust. And don't do this on any other sites that you don't trust. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay. Like for instance, you are not going to invite anyone that you don't know into your house and leave the house to him to do anything he wants. Right? Are you going to do that at home? No, you are not going to do that. But some of you do that a lot on your computer. You let someone that you don't know to do anything he wants on your computer. That's dangerous, all right? Do you know what I'm talking about? But there might be a chance that you invite a friend over to your house, but you have a business to run outside. And you are going to tell your friend that, I'm sorry, I have to run an errand, so I'll be back in like maybe 30 minutes or an hour, and make yourself comfortable. Make yourself at home. You can eat whatever you find in the fridge, and then make yourself comfortable and something like that. And then you leave your friend at home. All right? That's something that you might do, but only to someone that you really know and trust. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay? If you do this to someone that you don't know or you don't trust, and that can be very dangerous for you. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Okay, here. So let's click on the run. After you click on the run button and keep clicking on install now, and then this program, this .exe file will install a Python interpreter for you on your computer, all right? But before you click on this install now, I will recommend you also check this ballot box right here, down here, which states add Python 3.8 to path. I'm not going to tell you the reason behind, but if you forget to check this one, and that might be okay for you because you may not be using the feature this will bring you anyway, all right? But in case that you might need to use that, and it will be a little bit more complicated to add this thing on after you install it. So I recommend you to do this when you install this program. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay. So after you check this one, and then click on the install now, and then click on a few of the next button, and then finish or OK, and then the job will be done. All right? Any question? Okay. After you install that, click on the Start and find all programs, and you will find a folder named Python 3.8. Click on that, you will find a program called Python 3.8. And click on this, you will see this interpreter. An interpreter like this, you will see a prompt. We call it a prompt. To prompt you do something, to tell you that you can issue a command for the Python interpreter to run. Do you know what I'm talking about? A prompt for Python shell is actually 3 greater than sign. Like this. This is a greater than sign, all right? So for Python, the prompt is actually 3 greater than sign. When you see this 3 greater than sign, that means it is telling you the Python interpreter is ready for you to issue a command. All right? It is telling you that the Python interpreter is at your service right now. Just go ahead and tell him to do something. And what are you going to tell him to do? The first thing that you might want to try out on a Python script, a Python shell, is try to give him a expression. A expression for it to evaluate. What is an expression? An expression is a statement that's composed of operators and operands. All right? And what are operators? There are actually 7 mathematical. Do I spell it right? Thank you. 7 mathematical operators in Python. There are 7 mathematical operators in Python, which are addition, the plus sign for addition, and minus sign for subtraction. Of course, there is an operator for multiplication, but there is no multiplication sign on your keyboard. The multiplication sign is not available on your keyboard. So there's a substitution. Python uses another sign to substitute the multiplication sign, which is an asterisk. All right? We call it an asterisk. Okay, this is an asterisk. Do you know what this prefix means? Asterisk. Do you know? That means a star. That means a star. Do you know what is a astronaut? You don't know what is an astronaut? In Chinese, we call it a spaceman. All right, astronauts. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, it is. And what is the science of astronomy? What is a astronomer? An astronomer is a expert that study the stars, all right? The space and the stars. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay, so aster is actually a prefix that means star. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay, so does this look like a star to you at all? In Chinese, you might want to call it a right sign. But in English, we call it a asterisk. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay. Okay, so we use a star sign, a asterisk, to represent the operation of multiplication. Do you know what? Multiplication. Multiplication. What do I put in here? Multiplication. Is it a E or a I? I don't know. Let's check. I'm so poor in spelling. I'm sorry. I'm not a good speller. Multiplication, that's an I. I'm sorry. Multiplication, that's an I right there. Okay. Okay, so that is a multiplication. All right. There's another sign. There's another sign. Another sign for division. All right. There's another sign for division. What is the sign for division? Because there isn't a real division sign on the keyboard either. You don't find it on the keyboard. The real division sign. So we also have another substitution for the division sign, which is the slash. We call this a slash. Slash. And which is used for division. Do you know what I'm talking about here? Any question? No question? All right, that's good. Slash is actually a very, very popular term right now on the network. Do you know what it means to be a slash youth? I don't know. Do you know this? Do you know this? And what does it mean to be a slash? What does it mean to be a slash youth? And why use this term of slash? Why? Because in English, you can say that I am a student and also a artist. Do you know what I'm talking about? You can say that. This is a perfect English sentence to use. I am a student, also an artist. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay? I am a student and an artist at the same time. So we use this slash to indicate someone who played 2 or more roles in his life, his or her life. Do you know what I'm talking about? Any question? Okay. So this is the slash that we are talking about. All right. And there is also a operator with double asterisks. Double asterisks. What is it used for? What is this operator used for? This operator is actually used for exponential. Exponent. Exponential. Or sometimes we call it the power. And what is that actually? I'm not going to be able to type it in this notepad because it doesn't support this kind of the format. But I can show you what that is in Word. All right? So that's 72. 2, 3 is called 23, right? However, it's called 2 raised to the power of 3. Okay? How do you read this? How do you read that? It is read 2 raised to the power of 3. That's how you read that, all right? 2 raised to the power of 3. However, sometimes we'll make it short like this, 2 raised to 3. Sometimes we'll say that like 2 raised to 3 for short. Do you know what I'm talking about? But if you want to say it clear, you can actually say 2 raised to the power of 3. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay? Any question? So this is the sign for that. I'm going to show you how to use these 5 for now. But there are another 2 because we said there are 7, right? Okay? We said there are 7 of them. But these are the 5 ones that you know already. You are familiar with them already. So I'm going to show you how to do this first. And there are the other 2 of them are actually double slashes and a percentage sign. I'm going to show you what that means later, not for now, okay? Later, I will show you the rest of these 2 of the rest of these 7, which are the 2 of them that here. And I'm going to show you how to use these 5 in the Python interpreter right here, okay? When you see this prompt of 3 greater than signs, 3 greater than signs, then you can give it a expression. An expression consists of some operators and some operands. All right? And like this, if you tell him to evaluate the expression of 1, 2, 3 plus 4, 5, 6, what is the result of this addition? 1, 2, 3 plus 4, 5, 6. Don't tell me that it's 7, 8, 9. What is the result? What is the value that you come up with? You have to use a calculator for this? That's 579, all right? 579 that is, all right? This is actually the results that this addition operation come up with, all right? We have a name for this. We call it a returned value. We call it a returned value for this expression. It's actually the value that this expression will evaluate to. Do you know what I'm talking about? Value. Here's the word, value. All right? Value. There's a word, value. Evaluate is to find out the value of something. They call it to evaluate. Do you know what I'm talking about? To evaluate is to find out the value of it. All right? Any question? Any question so far? No? Are you guys okay with this? Okay? All right, that's good. Let's keep on moving, all right? So this is for addition. And you can also have this 1 plus 2 times 3. What do you think the results of this will be? 7, are you sure? Are you sure Python is going to do something that the math will do? In math class, you will actually do the multiplication first, and then do the addition, all right? The multiplication and the subdivision will have higher priorities. We don't really say priorities. We call it precedence. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not sure about this one either. Let's check the spelling about it. All right. Apparently, I'm right about it. Okay. Okay. That's very good. So, the multiplication and the division will have higher precedence over addition and the subtraction. Do you know what I'm talking about? That's in math. That's in math. Do you think the Python will follow the same principle that the math will do? Do you think Python will follow the same principle of this precedence thingy? The answer is yes. You'll get 7. Yes. All right? Yes, you will get 7. All right? So that's the same thing with math. Basically, same thing with math. When Python is designed, it will employ as much concepts from the math as possible. Do you know what I'm talking about? It will imitate the behavior of math as much as possible. Do you know what I'm talking about? Why is that? Why did Python want to do that for you? Why does Python want to include as many principles from math as possible? Why? 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 The answer is easy. The answer is it will make it easier for you to learn Python, right? If it is the same with the math. See? The answer is so easy, and then you don't want to give me the answer of that. All right? The Python will try to make it easier for you. So it will follow the principles. It will try to imitate math. It will try to employ as many principles as possible from math. Do you know what I'm talking about? All right? So it will give you the same results as 7, because it will do the multiplication and the division first. Then the addition and the subtraction of it. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay? Do you know what I'm talking about? All right. If you know what I'm talking about, I'm going to show you something that's what a return value is. What is the return value of 2 times 3? It's actually 3. I'm sorry, it's actually 6, right? 2 times 3 is actually 6. Any question? So this is the return value. Why does it have a return value? Because you can do the addition with 1 further. Do you know? You can do the further operations, like, you know, you can do the 1 plus 6 after you finish the multiplication. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay. If you don't really know, let me show you this way. Like 1 plus 2 times 3. What is the return value of this? It's 6, right? Any question? So you will replace this thing with 6. And then keep on doing this. That's 1 plus 6. And then you will replace it by 7. So the result is actually 7. Do you know what I'm talking about? That's why we want to have a return value. Do you know? And the return value of this is shown right here. Okay? All right. But what about you want to do the addition first, then the multiplication? You want to come up with the value of 9 instead of 7. What do you do if you want to do that? What do you do if you want to do that? What if you want to come up with the results of 9 instead of 7? Did I tell you that Python is trying to be as much more like the math as possible? So what do you do in math if you want to come up with the value of 9 instead of 7? What do you do in math? We put that addition inside a pair of something that you don't know how to say that in English, right? That is parenthesis. I don't want to type it here. Let me type it here. Sorry, I don't know how to spell it either. I'm sorry, I need to check it. I'm a very poor speller. I'm sorry about that. I'm so sorry. Of course it's wrong. Apparent not. Parenthesis. Parenthesis. Oh yeah. I got it right. Finally. There it is. Parenthesis. Oh, spelling is so hard for me. Parenthesis. That's what it is. All right. So you want to put that addition inside a pair of parentheses, right? Okay, that's how you do that. Let me show you. 1 plus 2 times 3, all right? And then that will give you the answer of 9. Do you know what I'm talking about here? Any question? No question. All right. Python is very, very easy so far, right? Okay. So are you scared so far? No, you are not scared by Python so far. You are scared by the English instruction given by me so far. It's all right. This is actually my last chance to teach a computer science course in English at this school. You are the last year of language gifted students, and there is no more this kind of the classes next year. So this is my last chance of teaching this class in English, and I am very sad about it. But since this is my last chance, I will still try to do it. And you guys might want to follow what I'm teaching, and then I hope this will be beneficial to you. I hope this will help you to learn something, all right? And like for this vocabularies, your English teachers will not teach you something. Your English teacher will not know what are operands, what are operators and operands and expressions and all these kind of the terminologies that's used in computer science or in math. And the English teachers are not going to show you about that. Do you know what I'm talking about? The teachers will not show you how to read this either. Right? Did any teacher show you how to read this? No. All right? But in this class, you will learn something like this. So that will be something good for you, right? Okay? So let's keep doing it. Don't be afraid. I will try to use very simple English so that you can understand and follow me, all right? Any question? Okay. Before we have a break, let's talk one thing more about this is this thingy. Since we cannot have the format of this in Python, we are not able to type something like this in Python. So in Python, we have an operator of powers, operator of the exponential operator. And it works something like this. If you ask 2 raised to the power of 3, 2 raised to 3, and then it will give you 8. Do you know what I'm talking about? And you can use it this way too. 2 raised to the power of 0.5. What is it going to get you? What will it going to get you if you have 2 raised to the power of 0.5? It will actually give you the square root of 2. Square roots. Do you know what a square root is? Square roots. All right? It will give you the square roots of 2, which is 1.414. Dot, dot, dot. All right? Any question? However, even though Python is trying to be more like math as possible, sometimes you will find it is different between Python and the math. And I will give you some examples of that. First, if you have 1 plus 2 times 3 plus 4 times 5. If you want to do this plus first, then the times later, what do? You would like, if you want to do this plus first, this addition first, then you might want to include these parts inside a pair of something you don't know how to say that in English. Right? What is that? We call it a square bracket. Brackets. I hope I spelled it right. Let me check the spelling of it. Oh, yeah. Okay. Square brackets, all right? Okay. Finally, I got it right in one shot. So we want to include these parts in a pair of square brackets. All right? Is there any question? All right. But if you do that in Python, you will get something wrong about it. You'll have something wrong. This is not you expect to see. All right? In Python, if you want to do that, you will still use parentheses. You will still use parentheses, all right? And then they will come up with 65 that you expected. Do you know what I'm talking about? So in Python, no matter how many pair of parentheses that you want to use, you always use parentheses. Don't use the square brackets. Don't use curly braces. What are curly braces? Curly brace, something like this? You sure about it? How? You used that before? You don't? You haven't used that before. How do you know that? How do you know for so sure that it is right? All right, let's curly braces, all right? In math, if you need to have something around the parentheses, you will have square brackets. And if you want something outside of the square brackets, you will have curly braces, right? What if you still need something outside of the curly braces? I don't know. I don't know. What about math? I don't know. But in Python, even you have 4, even you have 5 layers of the parentheses, you are still okay about it. All right? Do you know what I'm talking about? We always use parentheses to change the precedence of the operators. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay? Any question about it? Okay? The reason about it, the reason behind this is square brackets and curly braces are used in other meanings, are used in other structures in Python. It doesn't really mean the same thing in Python for square brackets and curly braces. Do you know what I'm talking about? And we are not going to show you this morning, but you will see how Python use square brackets this afternoon. All right? Any question? All right. If there is no any question, I'm going to show you a second example of how Python is different from math. In math, can you do this? If you want to have 1 plus 2 times 3 plus 4, what is the result of this? It should be 21, right? Okay? But in Python, this is wrong. It's not going to give you the results of 21. It's actually telling you this is an error. This is a type error about it. And what is wrong about it? It is actually, in Python, you cannot leave out any multiplication sign. You cannot leave out these asterisks whenever you want to do a multiplication. Do you know what I'm talking about? The multiplication will happen only when there's a asterisk. And this is not, this, you cannot leave out this. So this will give you the return value of 21. Is there any question? No question. All right, that's good. Also, in math, you will have something like this. Like what? Like what is this in math? It's Times New Roman and italic. It will look more like that. All right. What is that in math? What is that in math? This is the discriminant. Discriminant. I'm so sorry. I need to check on this too. Discriminant. What is a discriminant? Did I spell it right? Discriminant. Did I spell it right? Discriminant. And what did I spell? I thought I spelled it right. All right, okay. This is the discriminant for the root of this equation, all right? And the discriminants, this part right here, 4AC. And that in Python, you are not going to type 4AC. This is wrong, all right? In Python, you need to do this for 4AC. Do you know what I'm talking about? Any question? Okay. So let me remind you, in Python, you are not going to leave out any asterisks. And the multiplication won't happen if Python doesn't see an asterisk. Do you know what I'm talking about? Any question? If you don't have any question, then during the break, I would like you to launch the Python shell by click on stars and all the program and Python 3.8 and Python 3.8, and then bring up this shell, and when you see the prompts of 3 greater than sign, and give him some expressions and try to get the value out of it. Do you know what I'm talking about? You are going to use this Python to replace So next time, if you are tired of this calculator, you can use Python instead. Do you know what I'm talking about? Any question? Let's have a break for 10 minutes.